What is up, guys? It is your favorite neighborhood Fry the Cop Guy. It is Saturday here in Delaware, and it was a sunny day. Oh well, I guess that's why today's not Sunday. But anyway, today I'm going to be doing a video about, well, should I get a dual sport or should I get a Supermoto? But before I do that, looks like she needs a little bit of a clean. So are you ready for a magic trick? Ready? 3, 2...
And bam, she's clean, just like that. Oh wait, I'm here and not talking to you on the bike. Again, issues with the wind noise. I can only do so much. But had a great day today. It was a very nice day out. Got a little cold towards the end there, but overall it was a really great ride. Always a great ride. Always great to get out on the bike. But again, we're going to get a topic of should you get a dual sport or should you get a Supermoto? So a dual sport is a multi-purpose motorcycle that is built for on off-road capability. It's more specifically geared towards the off-road. It has more knobby tires, has a higher seat height, longer traveling suspension, and generally more clearance because of the bigger tires. A Supermoto, on the other hand, it's also multi-purpose, but it's generally more geared towards road racing. So it has, the tires are not as knobby, they're more slick, but they do have grooves in them, obviously, for more traction, obviously, in the wet and stuff like that. They can most certainly go off-road, but they're more limited to more road racing and then a little bit of off-road racing. So if you actually watch Supermoto races, you'll see them go off-road, but it'll only be in limited capacity. They'll have more road-oriented tires. The tires are small. Normally they're all 17-inch tires, like the ones on the Yamaha are 21 inches, so you're going to have that more clearance again. Yeah, but they're going to have a similar seat height, relatively. It's going to be a little bit lower. Suspension is going to be similar, but a little less travel. And like I said, again, it's going to have lesser clearance, so it kind of depends on what you're looking for. So why would you want a dual sport? I'll go for why I wanted a dual sport. I wanted something that was more dirt oriented. For me, I already have a small sport bike, and I didn't want to have another road bike. I wanted something that I could kind of go off road, and I can, still come back on the road to get from where I got to get to and go wherever. I mean, I'm not necessarily want to travel like thousands of miles on it, even though people have done it. People have even driven the small TW200 Yamaha all the way to the North Pole. It's a really cool video. But for me, it was more, I wanted something that was very much more dirt oriented, more something that was just something that appealed to me. But why would you want to get a Supermoto? A Supermoto was more street-oriented. They're really fun. Dual sports are really fun too, but the Supermotos are really grippy on the road. They're extremely flickable. You can get those things like absolutely almost, parallel to the ground and really low and pull them out of corners. You can't do that with dual sport. So they're more, like I said, the dual sports or the Supermotos are way more street oriented, and they were bred to do street racing. So like I said, for me, it was the clearance, it was the dirt, and the larger knobbier tires. The knobbier tires and stuff, they're going to get more friction and travel on the dirt. You're going to get less miles if you ride them on the road. If you do the Supermoto tires, they're going to get more durability on the road. And I guess like I said, there's a give and take there. But like I said, it just had that clearance for me getting over like logs and like getting over any kind of objects. Supermoto can do that, but it doesn't have the capability as much so as a dual sport does, and that's in my opinion. But I mean, from what you can tell, and you can look into it, it just doesn't have the same capability. But if you definitely want a Supermoto, they are really cool, and they're hooligan bikes. I mean, they're super fast, they're super light, and you can whip them in and out of corners. But if you're doing a lot of dirt stuff, if you really think you want to do more dirt stuff, you definitely want to be stray more towards the dual sport side, and that's just my personal opinion. But like I said, it's if you want to do, you can do it. So for example, I'll link in the description. Cycle Cruiser, great guy, great content. He did a YZ450F swap, and he has semi-knobbies on his Supermoto YZF swap. So it has like 17 tires, and they have like semi-knobbies. A lot of power, a lot of fun, really light, powerful bike. Fantastic. Definitely a little more power than you want for necessarily off-road, especially how light the bike is and everything like that. But that's neither here nor there. But he did a really great video, and a lot of his videos he shows him riding, and they're both a whole lot of fun. I mean, dual sport, the Yamaha WR250R and the Yamaha 250X. They are both fantastic bikes. They both have great capabilities. And I'm not just saying this for Yamaha because I own a Yamaha WR250R. This is the same for any kind of variant, for any other kind of supermoto and or dual sport, like the KTMs, the Huskies, all those kinds of bikes. But for me, again, it was the dirt oriented for the dual sport, and that's why I picked the WR250R. The fact that the WR250X is literally a unicorn, and if you can find that, you better hold on to it, because otherwise you're never going to get it. I mean, the thing is literally impossible to find. There's very few supermotos now in large quantities that are made from the factory, other than the DRZ and the KLX 300, that are lower on the budget scale and reliability wise. I mean, the KTM has a fantastic, the SMC, the Aprilia, I forget what the model that is, it's fantastic. The Husqvarna has theirs. They're all great, and they have their own varieties of supermotos, stuff like that, but they're just so expensive, and they're so much more maintenance heavy than like the Yamaha and the Kawasaki and the Suzuki. They're just way more intensive as far as labor is concerned. If you want to deal with that, that's on you. But the amount of money, the money for me, it wasn't there, and I just didn't want to have to put out the money for that. So that just wasn't on my list. And like I said, I didn't want to do any kind of racing on tarmac. For me, it was just, I wanted to do more dirt oriented. So dirt oriented riding, and Supermoto was more based on racing on the tarmac. And it's very hard to find any kind of supermoto that is fuel injected, liquid cooled, very reliable, and something that you can just find right out of the box, other than like the DRZ. But the DRZ is not fuel injected, it's carbureted. But the KLX 300 Supermoto is fantastic, which is going to be a really great sell. That's a really good one if you're going to go that route, which is cheap and easy. I think it's like $5,500, $5,600. That's like half of what a KTM is, a KTM 690 SMC. So it's like, why would you even want to go that route? I mean, unless you're a fancy orange boy and you want to go out there and you want to buy KTM, but that's up to you. But yeah, no. Another thing is what I was looking up when I was actually looking between supermotos and potentially wanting to get Supermoto. Like I said before, Cycle Cruiser, he actually did a Yamaha YZ450 dirt bike street legal swap. I'm gonna link that in the description below. It's a really cool video. He does really good content. Shout out to him. And I just didn't want to go through all that hassle. I didn't want to go through all the hassle. I didn't want to go through all those issues with dealing with that. It just wasn't in my cards. So for me, I just was like, well, I want the dual sport. And like I said, for me, I sat on the Yamaha, and it was all over from there. You know what I mean? It was all downhill from there. And also a really great description and link it's actually a link from Reddit. It has all the different kinds of supermotos that are available, from the Honda variants to the Yamaha variants, Suzuki variants, the Aprilia variants, the KTM variants, all the newer, older school ones. It goes into if they're fuel injected, if they have to modify them to be street legal, if you have to do, if they're maintenance heavy, if they're expensive. I'm gonna send a link in the description below, so check that out. That's another big tip for me when I was like, well, there's really not that much out there that I wanted. But that'll kind of give you guys an idea of what you are looking for and what kind of motorcycle you want to get into, either dual sport or supermoto. But let me be honest and be straightforward. Supermotos most certainly can do off-road. Dual sports most certainly can do on-road. Both can do both. Both are not necessarily great at everything. It's just kind of what you like. Go for a test ride. If you have your M endorsement, go out there and sit on the bikes. And you don't even have to have an endorsement to sit on the bike, but go out there and sit on the bikes. And if you have an endorsement, go maybe test drive them. Look and see what you have to do as far as doing that and seeing what you like. Just like a car, you gotta, if you're gonna be stuck with it, you're gonna like it. Obviously, bikes are a little easier to sell than cars at times. Supermotos maybe not so much. Dual sports and supermotos not so much because people do thrash them about. But like certain variants, like the Yamaha, those bikes sell very well because they're very well made. You know, people. I mean, I don't know how the resale value is on like a KTM or Husky, but I know the resale value on a Yamaha is very good. But in conclusion, sit on the bike, feel the bike, see if it's good for you. You know, supermotos and dual sports aren't going to be comfy, but that's why they make comfort seats. That's why they make extra accessories. Like I have bar riders on mine. I have the Tusk handguards. I have the bar risers. And then I have various other small parts and stuff like that. But you can get other gear for it. And it's the same thing with the Supermoto. You can get other gear for it depending on what you want to do. But do your research. Take your time and find your bike. Don't go out there and just sit on one bike and be like, well, this is the best bike in the world. Sit on a lot of variants. If you have 10 bikes that you want to look at, go sit on all 10 bikes. I sat on so many bikes. I think I sat on, it had been like 15, 16 different models of bikes that I was like, well, I thought this was really cool. But when I sat on it, I just didn't like it. And there's nothing wrong with that. So you go out there and sit there, play with the levers, check out feels, push it back to side, get comfortable with it, and then you can go from there. And if you want to test drive it, go out and test drive it. Because if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. You don't want to be stuck with something you don't want. And let's be honest here. I'm going to be straightforward too. Old motorcycles are great, but they are absolutely not all created equal. The maintenance from my Yamaha to Aprilia is light years difference. The Aprilia and like the KTM and the Husqvarna, the simplicity in like their dashboard and all their other components are much different. The reliability on Yamaha, I mean, Yamaha is the most reliable brand there is, proven by research. So as far as like, you know, the valve clearance adjustments, I think Yamaha has like 6,000 miles, something ridiculous, and KTM is like 2,000. So you'll do 3 of the valve clearances for KTM by the time you do 1 for the Yamaha, and that's like saving an extra $400 or $500. So what you want to do? If you got the money, send it. You know what I mean? Flaunt it and go out there and do you. Yeah. So like I said, for me, it was an easy choice with the dual sport. I went out there, I sat on the Yamaha, I loved it, and you gotta want to love your bike. And when I sat on the Honda, I love that. It's a great beginner bike. I loved being on that bike. I loved the feel of the bike, how comfortable that bike was. And then I felt the same way on the Yamaha. Obviously, the Yamaha is not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it's also not too bad. But that's what I have for you guys. You know, between a Supermoto and a dual sport, 2 different bikes, 2 different meanings for me, and 2 great motorcycles that you guys should definitely check out if you are thinking about buying a second bike, buying a beginner bike, or just kind of seeing if you want to get into the world of off-road or any kind of hooligan nonsense that you can get into with the Supermoto life. But thank you guys. Always thank you guys. I really appreciate everything you do by viewing my video. Please leave a like. Please comment and help me out with my channel and let me know how I can make it better. Obviously, sound quality, if you actually be able to hear me riding, but that's to be determined. And please subscribe. The more you subscribe, the more subscribers I get, the better content I can make, and the better I can do as far as videos for you guys. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I hope you guys are safe. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful rest of your now Sunday. It's 1 o'clock in the morning here now. And I just hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And like I said, if you guys have anything for me, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. Send me a DM on my Instagram or on Facebook and let me know what you guys think. Thanks for your time. And as always, Have a great day.